program, we're a low barrier shelter, so we don't require any background check or drug or alcohol sobriety. We have 28 rooms. It's in an old hotel that the City of Bend owns, and we've been in operation for about 3.5 years. Started off as a project turnkey site, and we're now funded by various other places. We use a coordinated entry system and to fill our rooms. We have a curfew at night, so between 7 and 11, you need to check in with security at the office. Staff is here from 8 in the morning till 6, and then security takes over at 6. So guests check in between 7 and 11. They need to be at the shelter between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. Unless they're working or in the hospital or something like that. So anything else? What am I missing?
Housing focused case management.
Oh, yes, housing focused case management. So we do provide housing focused case management, which is optional. We ask guests to sign a case management agreement for mutual expectations when they move in, if they want to participate. Essentially, if you want us to pay for things, you need to participate, because if we don't know anything about you, we can't pay for anything. So we work to eliminate barriers to try to get people housed, and work with our housing stabilization department for long-term rent assistance, rapid rehousing, things like that our clients might be eligible for. So
Priority populations.
we have 3 priority populations: households with children, households with seniors 58 and over, and households that are needing a medical procedure or surgery, have a medical vulnerability. So those are our 3 priority populations, and if you have questions, I'm open for questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Todd. Awesome.
You're welcome.
And we'll hold off. If anyone has any questions, just write them down, and then once we get through all the providers, we'll have a question session. Alrighty. Next up is Franklin. So I think CJ and Natalie are presenting.
Hello. I don't know if our camera is working, but I'm CJ. I'm the program director here at the Franklin Avenue Shelter, and I'm with Natalie. She's our programs manager, director of programs. And Franklin is an old hotel, like Stepping Stones. We're on our address is 154 Northeast Franklin. Our primary population that we serve are families and vulnerable adults. We are a low barrier shelter, and we can't, since we have children here, we don't accept sex offenders. We are staffed 24/7. And the length of time that folks can stay here is kind of it's really on them. You're here as long as as long as it works for you, I mean, and what that looks like to you. Right? We do have some guidelines but we operate kind of with grace, and so sometimes we seek to just get folks to where they feel that they are feeling safe. That's our primary focus: safety and relationships. But I also want to just let Natalie kind of share a little bit more about what we do.
All right. Hi, guys. I'm Natalie. I'm the program manager here over at Franklin. I just wanted to add on to CJ's points that we are a low barrier shelter, and we have active case management where we focus on reaching participants' goals and meeting them where they're at and what they believe they need at that moment. It is by choice if the participant wants to participate in case management. We work a lot with housing goals, resourcing, employment, and a big one is stability. We have certified peer supports here on staff, and that gives participants the opportunity to connect with someone who has lived experience. We have monthly events and get-togethers that are family friendly. and that builds connection within the community. We also have partner drop-ins every once in a while during these get-togethers. We provide food and supplies and try to get the community involved so they can find a safe place to be. But that's about all we have. We also do have a part-time nurse that is on staff during the week. But if you want to come and take a tour of Franklin, feel free to email me as well. We'd love to give you a tour so you can see what we're all about. All right, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you, CJ. Next, it looks like we have Oasis Village. Looks like Cole.
Hi, how's it going? So Oasis Village is a low barrier shelter. We're located in Redmond. We work with CES as well, and the only prioritization we have is Redmond, people that are from Redmond. It does not work to put that they're from Redmond just to get them in quicker if they're from Bend. We do look at HMIS and kind of where they're from and where they've been located at. We have staff from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Curfews at 10 p.m. You must follow expectations that we have here, chores, keeping cabins clean. We have 25 cabins, 3 doubles for couples. We don't accept children here at this time. We have a garden. We have a large dog run for animals. We do accept animals, cats, and dogs. We have a main house with 2 stoves, a large walk-in freezer, walk-in refrigerator, and a large area pantry to keep dry goods as well. We have 4 bathrooms with showers. We have ADA bathroom, and we have 2 case managers that work on housing goals. We're definitely housing focused.
Awesome. That was great. Thanks, Cole.
you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I think we had Kathleen next, but Kathleen, do you want to wait till Scott joins and we can kind of go to rapid rehousing and come back to you?
Yeah, let's give it a few minutes.
Sure.
To see if Scott, okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Otherwise, I can wing it. But.
Yeah, no worries. We can go to, I think next is rapid rehousing, LTRA, and PSH. I think we have Carly with us. Carly, are you good just briefly presenting on those? Maybe we have Carly with us. Okay. Cool. Okay. Kate and Peter, do you want to go ahead? I see the camera went all funky on you. Oops, can't hear you. Looks like you're still muted.
Okay, sorry about that. My computer also decided it was going to play music all at the same time.
No worries.
So we are Mountain View Community Development. We offer safe parking and transitional living micro shelters. We have 3 sites in Bend and 7 in Redmond. The largest site is in Redmond. It's our family site. And our smallest is actually just 2 safe parking spots. It's at a local business. So we're very, very spread out. We have many different sites, but they're all very small and there's not very many people at each. We are not high barriers, but I wouldn't say that we're low barriers necessarily either. We don't test for drug and alcohol, but we say none on site. We also do background checks to bring people into our program. So we specifically look for person-on-person crimes. So looking for things like assaults, say a burglary. We're also looking for sex crimes. So really just any sort of person-on-person crimes, that's what we look for. And those are the main things that actually keep people out of our program would be being unable to pass the background check. Let's see, we offer many more safe parking spots than we do micro shelters. So if somebody is looking for a safe parking spot, they're more likely to get into our program quicker because we have more of those spots available versus the micro shelters that we have less of. So that wait list is a bit shorter for safe parking. Something that's not often discussed with participants before they apply to our program or look to get into our program is that all of our sites are incredibly basic. So there's no running water on site. There's no kitchen facilities or showers. We offer them through the church that they can be scheduled for showers and laundry. But all of our sites they're dry sites. There's not very many facilities. So it is just incredibly basic. It's very much transitional. So we're looking to bring people in for a temporary time period, ideally while we're waiting for the next step in their housing journey or whatever their goal may be in that process. So it is just very, very basic. So safe parking does not offer hookups, and micro shelters that have very few amenities in them. So they'd have like a mini fridge, they have heating and AC, they have the space to make it comfortable, but it's not does not provide basic resources such as running water. So a lot of folks that will be interested in our program don't know that doesn't offer everything that they may have in mind. So I do find that can be a bit of a stopping point for some people. So they of course also do get a bed, and there is limited electricity for the micro shelters, but again, no hookups for safe parking. We understand waitlist for housing and saving money, it really takes quite a bit of time. So we initially say that it's a 90-day agreement to be in our program, but we'll have people here for much longer. The way to stay in our program is by just following our guidelines, which are very simple, kind of common sense ones that most places have. Following the guidelines and really engaging in case management, which look at it as very much client-led. So if somebody would like to meet with us regularly, they can. If they want to just shoot us a text message with an update on their own progress, they can. That's kind of how we look at it, is it's a client-led case management with a housing focus. But again, the big thing is just talking to us. We want a relationship with people and have them following the guidelines as best as we can to just keep them in our program. I think that about covers it. Peter, do you have anything to add?
No, that sounded great.
Okay.
Thank you, Kate. That was awesome. I saw, okay, looks like we have Sadie and Carly with us. Do you both want to go over rapid rehousing and LTRA?
Hey, Danica. Sorry, I'm just getting settled back into my home office, but I can, take a stab at it right now.
I will support Sadie needs.
All right. So rapid rehousing and LTRA, long-term rental assistance. Those are the two you want me to cover? Okay.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I can
Okay.
take PSH.
Okay. Rapid rehousing is a federally funded program. The program is specifically for people experiencing literal homelessness in our region. Beyond that, it's just verification from a third party. So if they're staying at a shelter, generally a letter from the shelter would do. So some type of verification that they're experiencing the literal definition of homelessness. There's no income minimum, there's no income maximum. Generally, our target population are households that are likely to be able to stabilize after a year of subsidized rent. So it's not a guarantee that your entire rent's going to be paid. It is based on income. There is a $25 minimum portion that they pay toward either rent or utilities. So that is, I think, some of the things that can happen in the community. Often we hear some people might get a full subsidy toward their rent. And so sometimes that's the understanding that that's automatically what people are going to receive. And that is not necessarily true with really any of our rental assistance programs. It will be based on income for anything medium or long term. And then they get a year of, or as long as they're in program receiving subsidy, supportive case management. Rapid rehousing does require case management to occur at least monthly. So they are assigned to a housing advocate, and they receive that case management focused on client-centered goals, but often, around stabilizing or increasing income, connecting to resources, day-to-day skills, and coaching of living in a unit if it's been a while for them. And there is a maximum lifetime amount you can receive rapid rehousing. That's 24 months maximum. We can't guarantee that we can get people to 24 months. It's dependent on the funding. So when they enter program initially, it is only 1 year. They are welcome to request an extension after that 1 year. That is dependent on the request they submit and as well as the funding we have available at that time. So that's rapid rehousing, all access through the coordinated entry system, of course. That's why we're here. And long-term rental assistance is one I'm sure people have been hearing a lot about over the last year and a half as we've been rolling that one out. This is state funded, a larger program, so it's definitely housing, probably why people have been hearing about it so much. We've had a lot more slots in long-term rental assistance. Long-term rental assistance does have a matrix behind it that was decided by the region on how we prioritize households. That priority group mainly being people who are also experiencing literal homelessness. If we ever get to a point in LTRA where we have served everybody who fits that demographic, we can then look at people who maybe fit other definitions of homelessness or even unstably housed, but where we are right now, as we know, we have quite a few households within the literal homeless definition and needing housing. So right now, that is the requirement that they are receiving. They go through coordinated entry system, so they are literally homeless. And then we do prioritize households that are medically vulnerable, BIPOC, or LGBTQ plus youth. So those are the other subgroups within literally homeless that we then prioritize. Also all part of the matrix that was determined by the region 2 years ago. There is there is an income maximum for this program for people coming in. It's 80% AMI for new participants. And then it's the same sort of subsidy calculation. There is not a minimum that people have to pay toward rent or utilities. So that $25 that applies to rapid rehousing doesn't apply to LTRA, but it is still a similar calculation based on income, about 30 to 30% of their growth, net income. That's an important differentiation between RIP or rapid rehousing and LTRA as well. While our rapid rehousing, our COC, are federally funded, most of our funding, right, is generally based on gross income. LTRA, there was more flexibility with this funding coming from the state, and we determined as a region to have it based on net income. So that is a nice change with this funding as well. The eligibility, though, is still based on gross income. So that 80% AMI is still based on gross, but then their subsidy is calculated based on their net. Long-term rental assistance is then funded ongoing as long as the funding continues to be there. The household continues to need the subsidy. As we understand it right now, this is still a newer program, but our guidance is that there is not, if they hit 80% AMI while they're in program, they're not automatically exited from program, because that is a requirement to enroll. We can continue to support as long as it calculates a subsidy for us if the client would like to continue. So those are all 1-year contracts. We renew annually, similar to our other programs, as well as like the Housing Works, the Housing Choice Voucher. So we renew annually there, and yeah, as long as the funding is there and the client still needs the subsidy, we'll continue to support. So it is ongoing. It's not like permanent supportive housing, though, as in the support, while there are support dollars and they're quite robust, and our services, we offer great case management, it's not required. So families don't need to engage in ongoing case management. They do not need to meet with a case manager monthly to continue to get rental assistance, or even to be eligible for client support dollars from that program. So that's completely optional. And yeah, Carly, have I missed anything?
No, I think you did a great job. You covered it all.
That is rapid rehousing and long-term rental assistance.
Thanks, Sadie. That was awesome.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, that was a lot of information. I guess I'll cover PSH, and then Carly, if you have anything to add, feel free. So we have a couple different PSH programs. We have Welcome Home, which is permanent supportive housing for veterans. We have Family PSH, which is for family households with minor children. They do have to be under 18. Once they turn 18, then they can no longer be enrolled in program. And new this year, it used to be RI Rapid Rehousing. It's now RI PSH. So that is for youth households. That's youth households 18 to 24. It's a little different from most PSH programs in that they do age out. So it's not exactly permanent supportive housing for some, depending upon the age. So once they reach age 25, they would age out. But yeah, they continue to have that help and support as long as funding permits with that program. So it's awesome. There are some requirements in order to be eligible. So someone does have to be experiencing chronic homelessness. So we use the HUD definition of that. So that's either 12 months or more consecutively experiencing literal homelessness, or experiencing 4 or more episodes in the last 3 years that combine to 12 or more months. That one can be a fun and tricky one to determine. So we usually get provider verification for that. The second eligibility requirement is having a documented disability. So it can't be self-identifying. We do need to have some sort of medical provider documenting that. So documented disability, chronic homelessness are the 2 eligibility requirements. Carly, did I miss anything on that? Cool.
Nope,
Okay, you're
sounds
just here
good.
for emotional support. I love it. Thank you. Awesome. Kathleen, are you ready to present?
Sure.
Awesome.
So, Central Oregon Villages, we've been around since 2022. I came aboard in the fall of 2024. We have 4 sites. We have our main village here where we have a shower trailer, kitchen trailer, our main office area, which is in which is an office trailer, and a community yurt. We're fenced in and have cameras throughout for security, as well as a gatehouse that is volunteers occupy the gate at night after the gate's closed. At our hours here, our villagers are free to come and go as they want. But the gate closes at 10 o'clock. And the villagers can access coming in after hours. But we don't have any non-villagers on site between the hours of 10 p.m. and 7 a.m., except for if somebody has a child, a minor child under the age of 13 that's visiting, they're free to bring, if they have partial custody or some visitation rights, they're free to bring their children. But we do need to know who all's on site. We are a high barrier shelter, high barrier in that we do a background check on everyone, and we're screening for person-on-person crimes and no assault fours within the last 5 years, and no registered sex offenders. Our primary population is those fleeing domestic violence, which we cater to in the main village. Outside of the main village, because we don't control the site, that's not our priority populations. We have 20 units here in our main village. Currently, we have 6 units at our Dean Swift location. We're growing that location right now. We just took occupancy of a house there, where we also now have another office, kitchen space, and bathroom showers, as well as a washer dryer that we're going to be opening up for our participants. And then we have our Franklin, 5th and Franklin location with 4 units there. Those are larger units for households of approximately 4 people. And then we have our 2 spots downtown at Ben Church. Those are the original pallet shelter sites that have been there since 2022. The downtown location has access to the church shower. There's no laundry at the church, but a church shower. And the mail room. Everybody has access to Ben Church mail room. All of our villagers receive their mail there if they'd like. And we do pick up. We do run a shuttle now between the sites for our villagers in order to get them to the different sites, as well as to laundry and stores, stuff like that. The people that we serve everyone, but you do have to be abstinent when you're with us. So we do UAs. If you disclose to us that you are willing to be abstinent while here and you test positive on the way in, and you've disclosed that and are in a treatment program, or, you know, you don't necessarily have to be in a treatment program for some drugs, as long as you agree to stay abstinent. And we will test to make sure that you do stay abstinent. Let me see. That's kind of, we have been changing that a little bit over time, because we do have community health workers, peer support, certified drug and alcohol treatment counselor, and qualified mental health. I wouldn't say people qualified to assist with qualified mental health associates as part of our staff. We are, let me see, how do people get in? We go through a couple of ways. Our main way of getting in is through coordinated entry. Everybody that comes in has to go through coordinated entry. We started keeping a wait list in September, although a lot of the people on the wait list go back to July, because I just went back through and started sweeping back through all of the back applications that had come in. But we also, in the event of a priority, such as we do have priorities that somebody who has been through coordinated entry might come in sooner. We don't just go last person on the list, oldest person on the list comes in, because we also have our units we have individual units, multi-household units. We do allow dogs and cats based on, we can only allow a certain number on each site. So if we're at capacity or don't have something available for the person, we move on. Let me see. Everybody has to agree to weekly case management that's housing focused. I'm the housing navigator, and each of our case managers work with me on a program to get people moving on to permanent housing. We work in budgeting advice. There's just a couple of us here. We're a very tiny team. So we all do a little bit of everything. Let's see, we do work closely with treatment programs. Who we serve, I'm looking here. We do have dog runs we have a large dog run here at our main location, dog run at Franklin that I'm in the process of building. I'm also operations, and I built. And we have a dog run at Dean Swift. We do take cats as well, but no bunnies, no snakes, no spider, tarantulas. Just that's not doable. We invite everybody out for a tour if you haven't been for a tour of the place. We have a great time here. We all like what we do. I really like it here. So, any questions? Feel free to ask when we get to the question part. And I think I covered everything with a lot of ums. Thanks.
That was awesome. Thanks, Kathleen. I think you guys should reconsider tarantulas. I think you should allow tarantulas.
No,
I'm kidding.
No, we also do unit inspections. We've discovered that those are really necessary, and I am not going in a place where somebody says, "Oh, by the way, I've got a tarantula or a snake." I won't go in.
Thank you, Kathleen. That was awesome. I think we just have one more provider. If we have Ariana from Kovo with us. Just really quick, everyone. This isn't, we're not going to talk about any program that goes through coordinated entry for Kovo, but Ariana asked if she could present some veteran resources. And I was like, of course, that would be awesome. So take it away.
Yes, thank you, Danica. I appreciate it. So yeah, I really wanted to kind of come out here. Kovo's in an interesting part of the coordinated entry process. As Danica mentioned, coordinated entry really isn't required for here at Kovo, but something I wanted to touch base on is, as I'm sure you guys are aware, Kovo's been in the community for about 20 some odd years. We have outreach team. We serve veterans here, but our outreach team caters to any and all. If you guys are out in the camps, you probably have seen Frank, our outreach coordinator out there. But I wanted to specifically touch base on SSVF, which I am the program coordinator for. So SSVF stands for Supportive Services for Veterans and Their Families, and it is a housing program. So it is a temporary assistance for veterans specifically. So requirements for our program, we cater to both rapid rehousing and homelessness prevention. So we can work with either population. The critical piece is that they are a veteran and have not received a dishonorable discharge. Any other discharge we can work with. If the veteran is unaware of their discharge or does not have a copy of what's called a DD 214, which is discharge paperwork, my team is able to verify veteran status through a third-party VA-supported kind of search Google that's called Squares. So that's something that we can easily aid the veteran with. If you're working with a veteran who has lost a copy of their DD 214, we can also work with that veteran outside of the SSVF program and help them get a copy of their DD 214. So they don't need to be enrolled with us to do that. To be able to be enrolled in SSVF, which just a little bit of context, SSVF is a federal program. So it's offered on the county level nationwide. So here we are the SSVF grantee for Crook, Deschutes, and Jefferson County. And then, excuse me, and then I'm also familiar with the SSVF program coordinators who border us in our other counties here in Oregon. So if you ever find yourself maybe working with a veteran who is maybe in Wasco County or on that portion of the reservation, we can, please feel free to reach out. I can put you in contact or help that veteran get put in contact with a SSVF team there. So we try to provide wraparound services. Although SSVF is a housing program, the main goal is housing stability. And sometimes the challenge of being stable in housing isn't always just the housing itself. Sometimes it's financial barriers. Sometimes it's maybe criminal record. Sometimes it's even just kind of some life skills like budgeting, for example. And our case managers work with our veterans to be able to build those skills so that housing stability can be achieved. To be able to be considered for SSVF, like I said, veteran status has to be confirmed. If they are housed, they need to provide us an eviction notice from their landlord. We do work with independent landlords as well. So that's perfectly fine. They don't have to be from a property management company. And we do use the federal AMI. So they need to be below 80% AMI gross income. And then those are our three big ones. So usually then we kind of start diving deeper a little bit with the veteran on more veteran specific stuff, which I can get into the weeds with. I won't. So, but that is the main kind of trifecta that we need to be able to schedule appointments with them to then look at getting them enrolled in SSVF. Even if they do not qualify for the SSVF program, Covo prides itself that they do not leave here empty-handed. So they will receive resources if they need assistance, maybe with outreach. We have an amazing outreach team that we direct them to get any kind of needs that they may need to be met to be able to go back out, maybe into the camps or anything of that nature. So thank you, Danica. I know we're kind of this wonky outlier. So I really appreciate you letting me kind of take the time to talk about SSVF here at Covo. And then, of course, you know, any questions in the question portion, or feel free to reach out to me and I'll be more than happy to connect with anybody.
Thanks, Ariana. I will also add that Covo's been amazing at reaching out to veterans that do coordinated entries and offering extra resources. So even though it's kind of separate from coordinated entry, you can always still do a coordinated entry assessment with a veteran. And then Ariana's always more than happy to reach out to them. So something to keep in mind there. Cool. I think we got through everyone. So we'll have some time for a Q&A. So how we'll do this is if you have a question, you can hit the raise your hand button at the top there. It's the little hand right there. I already see Jay hit it, so that's awesome. So I'll just go through in order. I'll call out. There's a lot of questions. Awesome. And we'll just go through in order that way. So Jay, if you want to start.
Hi, yeah, thanks. Hey, so a lot of you folks mentioned that you pull from the coordinated entry system. One thing I was curious about is maybe if folks could put in the chat if there is an additional thing, like an application that we could have participants fill out that might either increase their chances or is part of the required process for them to get into services. That would be great. If we could just have that in the chat so I could have a list of the ones that also require an application.
I'm glad you brought that up, Jay. So there is the only two that require a follow-up application is Central Oregon Villages and then Mountain View Community Development. That application, I am happy to send that out to you guys afterwards. For Central Oregon Villages, it's super quick, takes about 5 to 10 minutes. And then Kathleen, I think just send it to your email. Is that correct?
Yes, just send it
Cool.
to me. That's the fastest, easiest way to make sure I get it because I'm the one who prints it out and handles it.
Awesome. Thanks, Kathleen. The one on Mountain View doesn't have to be filled out by a provider. The client can fill it out or the provider as well. And that is just on their website. So if you just go to Mountain View Community Development, there's a huge green banner on the top that says click here. Make sure if you're referring them to the micro shelter, make sure your client indicates that. There's two options, either safe parking or micro shelter. So make sure they click micro shelter and then make sure that they click that they completed a coordinated entry as long as they did that with you. Those are two really important steps. There's the system is not a first come, first serve system. It's supposed to help match individuals to the resource that best fits their need. So there's not necessarily any way to per se increase odds. But yeah, those are the only two. Stepping Stone, Franklin, and Oasis, they just pull based off the list. So there's no extra application for those ones. Kathleen or Kate, did you want to add anything that I missed to that one? Or was that good?
I think that's good to
Cool.
kind of understand where this is. So the applications, a total of 2 pages, and these are all of the ones that that are, I mean, this is how big the binder is, the wait list. So I go through it and pick out, okay, I've got individuals here for an individual unit, how many have a dog, you know, that kind of thing. So it really, people with children, and you know, if they also have dogs, we're at the limit on dogs at Franklin right now. So I need somebody who doesn't have dogs that has, you know, more than one person in the household, preferably, you know, a couple people in the household. And I do have an opening right now at Franklin, but I think I've got somebody for it. But if I don't, yeah. Anyway,
Thanks,
I'm rambling.
Kathleen. You're good. No, you're good. That's okay. Thank you. Kate, I see you're next with a question.
Yeah, and also just to quickly add also for our kind of interest list is that sometimes it does kind of appear a little bit like we jump around sometimes, but it also is because we have our family specific site as well as we have a site at the VFW that is also specific only to veterans. And so although it may look a little jumpy at times, we do have a couple of sites that are specific to specific demographics, but we do pull off of the CES list and also as well through our applications. And my question, I actually have one for Kovo with SSVF. You mentioned that you help out veterans with, you know, gaining housing. And so I was kind of wondering, is that more advisory? Is it a financial assistance? Like, do you help with, say, a deposit? Or is it just more on just finding the housing and applying for it? I was just kind of curious what that assistance looks like.
Yeah, no, great question. So, yes, to kind of all of it. My team is built off of case managers, a housing navigator, and a healthcare navigator. So SSVF is designed to be all encompassing. So when it comes to the housing portion, we are working with the veteran. So we don't have a place for them to stay physically, but we're working to get them housed. So if they are enrolled in SSVF services here at Kovo, we can provide assistance like application fees and security deposits and whatnot of the like to be able to get them secured housing. So as well as rental assistance for our HP homeless prevention clients. So we do have funding for that piece of it. It's all just dependent on whether or not they can qualify and enter into the SSVF program, which we're always taking phone calls just so you guys know there's not really anything like special about like securing a spot. It's really that the veteran, it is veteran led, so that the veteran needs to come and speak to us directly, and then we navigate from there. We always are willing to like work with some community partners. Obviously, we work really closely with HUD-VASH, and working with veterans to try and get them on the HUD-VASH list specifically. So I'm so sorry. Did that answer your question? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, thank
yes.
you.
Jay, did you have another question?
Hi, I'm sitting with Jay. This is Abby. I'm a case manager at the Lighthouse. I had a question for Cole at Oasis. We have a lot of individuals that come between Redmond and Bend, and so they're not really settled in either, and are okay with anything. How do you manage that?
So what we prioritize is Redmond, but we also take people from Bend as well. So, but like I said, in CES, we always prioritize Redmond first. If they're going back and forth and it says Bend or Redmond, I will look on HMIS and kind of see what their location has been and what their primary area has been. But that would be it. It doesn't necessarily disqualify them or anything like that. They're still qualified being from Bend. It's just that we prioritize Redmond per our funding. So.
Awesome. Thanks, Cole. Does anyone have any other questions?
I do want to mention, I forgot to say, our time limit on people staying here. We don't want to put people back out on the street. It's hard enough going through the process of screening and getting people in here. We don't want them back on the street. So we have people can stay here up to 18 months and longer if depending on the situation, because it's hard to find. Some people have such struggles that it's really hard to find placement for them. So anyway, that's 18 months is our go-to on limit.
Awesome. Thank you, Kathleen. Cole, do you have a question?
I just wanted to also mention that like calling the Oasis Village or having your clients come to Oasis Village is not going to prioritize them on the list in any way. And a lot of times it can waste their resources trying to get here, or their time trying to get here. We strictly pull off of the CES list. You're welcome to give me a call if you have somebody that you think is a good fit, but I'm still going to just follow the list. So just wanted to let everybody know that that's kind of a waste of time to show up here or to give us a call.
Yeah, if I can add a little bit to that, Cole, if you don't mind. I will say that goes for every provider here. So Franklin, Stepping Stone, Oasis, COV, Mountain View, please, please, please do not send your clients there. Like Cole said, that can, be a waste of their time, their resources. The other thing, like I said, it's not a first come, first serve. We can't really give clients updates, unfortunately. The list is always changing. So it's really unfortunate because clients will show up and there's nothing that we can tell them. So it's really important. Refer them back to the system. Please don't send them to providers. It's really important. Sam.
Hello. So Cole, question for you again. I don't think you covered like who you're prioritizing for Oasis, or maybe you did, and I just for some reason wasn't paying attention. So I'm sorry if that's the case.
The only prioritization that we have is Redmond. We prioritize people that are from the Redmond area, and we're a low barrier. So other than that, anybody, as long as they're a good fit here and we're a good fit for them, we would consider anybody.
Okay, so I will say I've heard from someone previously at Oasis that you guys weren't were trying to avoid people who did not have steady transportation or like their own vehicles, or those that were extremely like medically vulnerable. Is that not true?
That's not true. Yeah, we provide transportation here as well. That's something that I probably left out. We have a van. We help people get to work, get home from work. We help people to medical appointments, and things like that. So there's no consideration for those things in anything for our intake.
Okay, that is really helpful and clarifying. I'm obviously not going to put on blast the person that said that, but they definitely did work for your organization. So,
Okay.
I'm sorry, Danica, it's Miko here. I did want to add one thing about the medical vulnerability. So we don't have overnight staff here. We only have a security guard overnight. Although we have ADA ramps and things like that, we have to consider that people who are extremely medically vulnerable, we have to make sure that their vulnerability isn't above our ability to keep them safe. Meaning that we don't have staff here from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. There's only a security guard. So they would have to be able to get themselves to the bathroom. It's quite a trek from their unit into the main house. So that's a consideration we do take into consideration when choosing candidates.
Awesome. Thank you, Tamiko. Kate threw something into the chat as well that I want to emphasize. So this has been an issue with not just Mountain View, but other places as well. If there is no contact information in HMIS or it's outdated, someone can miss out on a housing opportunity. That's really, really unfortunate to see. So make sure as a caseworker advocate, make sure that you're updating your client's information in the system. And if they don't have any information in the system, please add that. If someone doesn't have a phone or an email, like work out a plan or something, or put your email or phone number. Unfortunately, a lot of people do miss out on housing opportunities, so that's really, really important. Okay, any other questions or comments?
Not a question, but a quick comment, just off of the last conversation. And it's just that we also, for us, we need to make sure that folks are able to complete their ADLs. And so we are not currently set up to work with somebody that has a significant physical disability. A lot of our sites are really new and they're on gravel, and there is an additional step to get into the micro shelters specifically. So I just really want to emphasize that if somebody is unable to complete their ADLs, or if they do have high needs medically, we are not set up to care for them well. We also don't have staff on sites 24/7. So I just really wanted to mention that if somebody has a high medical need, that we're not really an appropriate place for that.
Thank you, Kate. Tamiko, do you have a question, or I don't know if your hand is just still raised up?
No, that was from my comment. Yeah, I'll take that
No
off.
worries. No worries. Alrighty, any other questions before we end our meeting today? Okay.